One of our biggest challenge in this new century is to take an idea that seems abstract sustainable development and turn it into a reality for all the world's people. A very thoughtful morning to Reverend Ma'am Nimble and my dear colleagues. I am Tanya Verma, one of the fellow group member of Group 8. Me, along with my group mates Vinay Chilumala and Sumant Kelo, are going to explain the meaning of sustainable world. Wait, meaning only? Well, not exactly. Let me correct my words. We three are here not only to explain the meaning of the topic but also how together we could make development and the world to be sustainable. A famous saying is coming in my mind: if working apart we are powerful enough to destabilize our world, then surely working together we are powerful enough to save it. So, what is the first thing that comes in our mind when we heard the word sustainable? I think it might be long term development in a positive way or renewable sources, check on carbon dioxide emission, conserving resource for future generations, and many more. In fact, all of them are correct and up to the mark. Let me throw some light. Development of the world in a sustainable manner has its root in ideas about sustainable forest management which were developed in Europe during 17th and 18th centuries. Sustainable development is the pathway to the future we want for all, along with it offers a framework to generate economic growth, achieve social justice, exercise environmental stewardship, and strengthen governance. True said that the goals of sustainable development is to enable all people throughout the world to satisfy their basic needs and enjoy a better quality of life without compromising the quality of life of future generations. Yes, sustainable development focuses on a wide range of issues that comprise the three pillars of sustainability. First one is environment, second one is society, and the third one is economy. The modern concept of sustainable development is derived mostly from 1987 Brundtland Report. It is also rooted in earlier ideas about environmental concerns. Reducing terrorism is also related to developing world in a sustainable manner. It may sound strange, isn't it? But the causes and the consequences of terrorism are related to many sustainable development goals. One of the direct relationship is Goal 16: promote peaceful and inclusive societies for all, sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. One of the popular recitation is sustainable development is the masterful balance of meeting our own needs without jeopardizing future generations' ability to do the same. So, yeah, this was the end of my part for this time being. Now, I would like to request Sumant to please continue our discussion further.
Thank you, Tanya, for intro of our part. Myself, Sumant Kelu, and I am gonna talk about what is sustainability. There is no universally agreed definition of sustainability. Sustainable is an adjective for something that is able to be sustained, something that is bearable or capable of being continued at a certain level. Now, we are going to talk about sustainable world. Sustainable world. Sustainability requires human to learn to live within our means. Major factors such as human population size, biosphere robustness, resource stock, food supply, and environmental quality must remain in balance on a global scale. In other words, people living today shouldn't abuse up the world's resource so that there are none left for those who live after us. In a sustainable world, human needs would be met without chronic harm to the environment and without sacrificing the ability of future generations to meet their needs. Here we are going to discuss about what makes sustainability. Here the three pillars which make sustainability properly. First one comes environmentally, second one socially, and third one economically. These three principles are also informed used as profit, people, and planet. First one environmentally. Green initiatives, spent cake cycling, reclamation effects, operational efficiencies, natural alternatives. Now second one socially, the EP way, training, compliance, EP in the community, customer services, marketing communications, environmentally, health and safety. Socially, we want to promote equity among societies, to reduce disparity between the rich and poor, to protect human dignity, and to minimize state terrorism. Now third one economically, providing resources and products to customers, capital improvements, employment, product stewardship, new market development. Now, sustainable development. The concept of sustainable development was described by the 1987 Brundtland Commission report as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Approach to developing or growing by using resources in a way that allows for them to renew or continue to exist for others, using recycled materials or renewable resources. Sustainability is constrained at both ends of the economic throughput. At the starting point, it is constrained by the availability of resources, and at the end point by the accumulation of products of their uses, waste, loss, and population, consumption, and the system of material distribution. The processes that link those two ends go to the heart of matter. The scale of global consumption, both public and private, depends on the population size and on the intensity of resource use. Now, here is the question: is it possible to achieve sustainable world? Yes, it is possible. Sustainable development is development that meets the needs of present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. The need for a sustainable development became more apparent as cities began to grow and resources began to diminish in the quantity and value. In the year 1800s, some people began to develop personal lifestyles that were conservative and took into account environmental issues. The organizing principle for sustainability includes the four interconnected domains: ecology, economics, politics, and culture. Sustainability of the world requires our people to remain within means, proving lesser needs and demands. The important factors are the natural environment quality, population size, resource stock, and the chain of food supply must remain constant on a global scale. The degrowth mainly concerns with the downscaling of consumption and productivity. Ultimately, when there is less consumption and production, it leads to lesser usage of natural resources, where some resource left idle for the future use. In this way, it creates sustainability in both consumption and production. Combating social barriers to sustainability includes need for the stronger policies to address income disparity and population growth. The introduction of programs to create awareness and build capacity in the field of sustainable development among the general public can assist to change in behavior and lifestyle that is needed to achieve sustainability. How to achieve sustainable development? Many of the challenges facing humankind, such as climatic change, water scarcity, inequality, and hunger, can only be resolved at a global level and by promoting sustainable development. A commitment to social progress, environmental balance, and economic growth. As a part of new Sustainable Development Roadmap, the United Nations approved the 2030 Agenda. It contains the Sustainable Development Goals, a call to action to the protect the planet and guarantee the global well-being of people. These common goals requires the active involvement of individuals, businesses, administrations and countries around the world. That's the end of my part. Here onwards, Vinay will continue.
Thank you, Sumant. I'm Vinay Chilmula, and my topic is implications of sustainable consumption of resources or the consequences of sustainable resource consumption. What is sustainable consumption? Sustainable consumption is defined as the use of material goods, energy, and immaterial services in such a manner that the environmental effect is minimized, allowing human needs to be addressed not only in the present but also for the future generations. Consumption is survival for individuals living on a minimal level. This is still true for around one third of the world's population today. Aside from the necessities, they consider extraneous comforts to be luxury. While such luxury may be associated with civilized civilizations, it is all too easy to devolve into excess. Supporting and strengthening ecological middle consumers is one way to sustainable consumption. Globally, the growing number of individuals living in abject poverty, along with the number of better off people who indulge in excessive consumerism, threatens the future of middle class consumers. Equity and social justice may be essential for long lasting and sustainable planet. This indicates that just one third of the population is able to consume sustainably, yet they are being devolved by overconsumption and the shows of riches. The remaining two-thirds of the population are unable to afford a sustainable consumption lifestyle. To discuss sustainable consumption, we need to know why people consume beyond their civilized needs. Commercial advertisements are such a potent motivator. An attempt to fulfill daydreams, mimicry of neighbors, or display of increased wealth. If display is the motivator, it may be advantageous to substitute assurance of material capabilities for actual execution. For example, I don't have to be in air all the time to demonstrate that I can afford all the air excursions I want to take. Such change in excessive living standards, which refers to as positive freedom, might help bring sustainability closer to reality. Finally, whether we achieve fair sustainability is determined by collective impacts of individual choices. The way we live and act affects the extinction of species, the conditions of the environment, and local and national altitudes towards immigrant and refugees. Despite the fact that the vastness and the complexity of actual civilizations may help to reduce our individual influence, humans are the only living species capable of serving as global sustainable guards backed up by justice. We must act because we are the only one who can choose to make a difference. Thank you. This is the end of my part of the presentation. Tanya will be continuing the presentation.
Here we are done with the major parts of the topic. Now let's talk about some goals and steps taken in brief. Among many goals, some of the major goals of sustainable development are as follows: good health and well being, gender equality, decent work and economic growth, affordable and clean energy, sustainable cities and communities, peace, justice, and strong institutions, minimizing and vanishing terrorism, protection of human dignity, life on land and below water, climate action, clean water and sanitation, reduction of disparity between the rich and the poor, and zero hunger. The scale of global consumption, both public and private, depends on population size and on intensity of resource use. In order to take sustainability actively, we need to inspect and review our ideas about growth, social equity, and the standard of living. The Sustainable Development Goals build on decades of work by countries and the United Nations, including the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs, in June 1992 at the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, more than 178 countries adopted Agenda 21, a comprehensive plan of action to build a global partnership for sustainable development to improve human lives and to protect the environment. The Johannesburg Declaration on Sustainable Development and the Plan of Implementation adopted at the World Summit on Sustainability in South Africa in 2002 reaffirmed the global community's commitments to poverty eradication and the environmental concerns and built on Agenda 21 and Millennium Declaration by including more emphasis on multilateral partnerships. Now, here comes the last part of our discussion, so let me allow for a quick sum up. For our existence or to make human life possible, the natural environment plays a critical role. However, in order to define who we are, our cultural environment plays equally important role. Hence, population and economic growth are environmentally sustainable. Sustainability is no longer about doing less harm, instead, it's about doing more good. At last, we would like to thank Ma'am Nimble for providing us this window of opportunity to share and express our views. Also, we are very thankful to our classmates for listening to us. We hope we are able to provide you some relevant knowledge. So, thank you everyone for giving us your precious time.